Transform, Inspire with Bree. I am sitting here with the Marcy Buck. How are you?
Good.
Good. Now, Marcy has been a member of our group for now, we debate this, so 2.5 months we've been doing Ballet Blast live. So I think we're going on 3.
We started January 23rd.
Look at you.
I'm really good with
Look
dates.
at you. Okay, so January 23rd, and then here we are. So I think we're about 3 months in.
Mhm.
Now, this girl, from the beginning, I mean, she took it like, and I do have to say, I think you dedicated yourself more so than anyone right at the very beginning.
Yeah, it's completely mindset. You have to like commit mentally for any diet. For me anyway, I don't know. I just feel like once you're mentally ready to be done with, you know, like for me, I'm just like, I'm done being short and overweight. And
you go, I'm just, today is the day that I'm like.
And then it's all done.
Okay, well, I loved, she was so active in the group right from the beginning, and of course, leading the group, it was so helpful to have you there, and giving recipe ideas, and giving all of these things, feedback to everyone, and then all of a sudden the weight is just shedding. I mean, shedding, and she's small. I mean, how tall are you?
Like maybe 5 foot. On a good day, 5 foot.
Pushing 5 feet. So she's just, I mean, Nisha DeGaring, we were on Good Things Utah yesterday. Nisha DeGaring called her a Polly Pocket.
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly, just so adorable. So 22 pounds is a big deal for you.
Yeah.
So now I just am so excited to pick your brain. First of all, I want to take you back to before Ballet Blast. Trying other workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Were they working? How did you feel? What was going on there? And then when Ballet Blast came, was there a transition? Was there a difference? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I've been doing Ballet Blast off and on for like 4 years.
Since we started at locations, right?
Yeah, 4 or 5, yeah, 4, something like that. And before that, I did a lot of Zumba and like trendy classes, I guess. I don't know how else you would describe those.
But you're like a class girl.
Yeah,
I love the classes.
Yeah, I love to be around people and all of us doing it at the same time. And so I did that for a long time, and I don't know, I just started getting bored of it, and I don't know, with Ballet Blast, I've never felt like that. I've never been bored of it. And like you always say, you know, once you get better, like the better you get, the harder it gets. It's 100% true. It's never plateaued for me.
I love that, and that's after 4 years of you doing it. So you know the form, you know where your body should be, and you're still feeling that way.
Yeah.
So I love hearing that. Okay, so we start January 23rd, and you now have dropped 23 pounds. So where are you? Like, how did that happen? I know that working out is part of that, but obviously dedication to diet and portion control and all of those things.
Diet is everything.
Tell us about
everything. So for me, the first month, I completely did no cheats, because for me, food
Are you
is
being
where
real?
I
Like,
struggle.
no
Yeah,
cheats?
nothing.
Blow
nothing
it up!
For the first month, because I don't know, for the first month is where, you know, like you can commit so much, and then once you're committed, that's fine. But for me, once I'm kind of like on the bandwagon, I'm cool. And then once I start to kind of introduce the treats, I'm like, I need more.
Yeah, well, it's true. Sugar is really like a drug.
It's so addictive.
Your body's like, give me more, give me more, give me more.
And so no cheats for the first month. And then the next month, I introduced 1 cheat meal. And then I think I waited like 2 or 3 weeks to do a cheat day.
So when you say 1 cheat meal, is that a week?
Yeah.
One cheat meal a week.
Yeah.
What would that look like for you?
So for me, I love steak. I'm a meat eater. So for me, it would be like filet mignon and lobster. Like that's my go-to.
Yummy. Okay, but is that a cheat? I mean,
yes,
protein is good. Like protein.
But I mean, steak is really high in fat also. And even if you can get like the leanest cut, blah, 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 but it's a lot of calories. I mean, 1 big steak is like 1,000 calories.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was thinking you were going to say like pasta with cheese and all sorts of crazy stuff on that.
I mean, I am a pasta girl, don't get me wrong, but my go-to is steak for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, that first month when you said you were eating very clean, what did that look like? What type of food?
Well, I meal prepped everything, especially for the first month. So I went to Walmart, bought the cheap little like meal containers, meal prepped everything. So I do 4 to 5 ounces of meat. If I did a vegetable, I usually do like 2 or 3 ounces of that, depending on what the vegetable is. So broccoli, I would do like half a cup or whatever, and then rice, same thing. So you want to split that up evenly. And so I would do 4 to 5 ounces of meat, my 2 to 3 ounces of vegetable, and then you need a carb. So I would do either sweet potato, red potatoes, rice, and then I do either half a cup of rice, or 4 ounces of carbs, depending on what it was and how the meal was. So like if I had a sweet potato, I would try to stick to kind of like 4 ounces because it's a thicker, heavier, dense, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the first month, that's what I did. Especially for me, I struggle at lunch because my kids are screaming, they're hungry. I usually just got done working out.
You're hungry, and after workout, you're like, give me some food. You're that girl, like, I'm in the pantry, like,
me too. And like when you're starving and your kids are screaming, the first thing you want to do is like snack because you're hungry right now. And so for me, it was just easy to pull it out of the fridge, heat it up for a minute or two.
Good for you.
Yeah, and then I'm making my kids is like peanut butter and jelly or whatever.
Okay, so are you doing that for lunch and dinner? Are you doing that for every meal? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner? That's just for lunch?
Me, it was only lunch because that's the only meal I struggle with.
Got it.
So for dinner, I do have to portion control, obviously. So
when you're literally weighing, I mean, you have a food scale.
Yeah.
And that's something I definitely have never done, and I need to look into that because there's been
and they're
times...
cheap. I mean, I think I spent $10 or $15 at Walmart.
Because I think in our minds, for me, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a carrot. Like, it's carrots. It's not. And then I overload on.
Which at least it's carrots you're overloading.
Right. At least it is. But you're
ranch,
still getting
that
those
kind of stuff.
calories.
That's where it's coming from. Sugars and ranch.
So you have to be aware of the portion. And I love in the group, when you showed your scale, that was the first time I went, oh my goodness, I need a scale. And I should probably be aware of how much I am eating.
Well, most people are not aware of how much they're eating. Like, that is such a huge thing for most people that are trying to diet. They're just like, oh, well, this is really good for me. It's potatoes, or
so I can eat as much of it as I want.
Right.
That's what I struggle with.
Yeah.
Because I try and eat clean, but then I'm like, but wait, what? How am I gaining weight when I'm eating really clean? But there's still, you gotta be careful. You gotta watch that.
Yeah.
So
and I do stay within 1,200 calories a day.
So now that you are more where you want to be, do you up that? Are you?
You can. It depends on what your goal weight is. If you've reached your goal weight, it depends on a lot of things. So I've done a lot of research on dieting throughout all my years.
As we can tell, and I love it. Very informative.
Yeah, and so I also try to stick with your 100% a day food. So I do 50% of that is like my carbs, and then 30% is protein, and then 20% is fat. So I don't necessarily stick straight to that all the time. I did for the first month, but now especially I'm a little bit more lenient. And once you reach your goal weight, you can go up 100 or 200. Or once you're at goal weight, you could really be up to 18 to 2,000.
That's what I was going to say. So for most people, if you're doing it right and your metabolism is really working, so and I believe in eating every 2 hours. I think it's very important to keep that metabolism cranking. And there's been times in my life where I've just not eaten breakfast, sometimes not even really eaten lunch, and then my first meal will be around 2 to that's so bad. Really bad. And I really messed up my system. And that was high school, college time. I just didn't think about it. I wasn't thinking about it. So now when you get that, you're feeling that metabolism, everything's cranking. Once you're at that goal weight, you should be able to eat more calories than you were eating because your body is trained to work through them, right?
Yes, and I would still wait till you're around goal weight to up your calories, because when you want to lose something, you obviously have to sacrifice something.
Right.
So that's where it really kind of depends on how much you're eating and how much you go to.
Okay, well, I know there's been so many questions in the group, and you've been so good to answer everyone's questions, but I knew everyone would be dying to have me sit down and ask these questions so they could benefit from you. So thank you so much.
I like sharing, so
ask
me anything always.
Okay, so that is one part of our group, right? The weight loss, the feeling good. But what about the other side of it? What about emotional and mental, and as being a mom and a wife? Have you noticed any difference?
I feel like I'm way happier. I mean, once you feel good about yourself, you're just a better person all the way around. And that's another thing with food. When you're not eating enough, obviously your body is not where it's supposed to be, so you don't have any energy. And once you start eating good and you're working out, it gives you the endorphins in your body, and
you're fueling happy. Your body, literally.
Yeah. So
you've noticed a difference there?
A huge difference. Obviously my confidence went up, and then your personality comes back out, and I feel like me again.
I love that. And after 2 babies?
3.
3. Okay, so what ages?
I have, my oldest is going to be 11 in 2 weeks, and then I have a 5 and a 1.5.
Oh, busy girl.
Yeah.
See, and balancing all of that, I feel like can be hard.
It is, yeah.
I've loved seeing that you have made it work, and that you...
No excuses.
Yeah, have dedicated yourself. And another thing, I don't think Marcy has missed a live class. If you have, it's been maybe one or something.
Well, I've always like checked into one, but I've never. The only one I didn't do was the stretching one.
Look at you. She knows this. Yeah, I love it. Just a sharp, sharp one. Okay, so is there a difference in doing the live classes versus the tape classes for you?
Definitely, because sometimes in my off days, I mean, I usually work out 5 days a week now, but so Tuesdays and Thursdays when I work out, I'll do one of the ones that's just up on the site.
Gotcha.
And it's not the same. It definitely is not the same.
Why is it different?
You don't feel the energy the same.
The energy.
Yeah.
I
like
would
when
agree
the comments are just like coming in and dinging, and you know, like we're liking each other's comments, and the hearts are flying. And
which I love on my end. And those days that the heart's just like,
I know, and those are like seriously me. I'll be on the floor, I'm like, oh, this one's killing me.
I love it, and then I just say, burn, burn. No, so I feel that as well. When I do those taped classes, you're still getting the workout, and that's great. But like you said, the energy to keep going.
Interaction.
And I think when you're burning and you're at that point where, you know, you're doing 100 releves and you're like, oh, my calves, oh. And then it's easy if it's taped to just be like, I'm just going to stop.
Yeah.
But then I think when it's live and I'm screaming at you and I'm saying, keep going, don't stop. And there's like this live feel of this energy. It makes you work a little harder, and I think that is why, that can attest to why you and Crystal both, who've been doing the live classes, you know, have lost.
And me and her really feed off of each other too, because we're commenting like back and forth, like, oh, Crystal, like this one burns so bad.
And you need that energy with each other. That's support, right? Yeah. We're all in this together. We're in the same boat. Let's do this thing. Okay, so what would you say to someone who just signed up yesterday? We did Good Things Utah. We had a lot of people join yesterday, but they're new to it. What would your advice be?
Definitely take your before and afters.
Definitely,
because it also like really, really fueled me. Even after a first week, when me and you and Crystal all took our first week ones, that was like the real. You see it and you're like, oh my gosh, that's 1 week, and it just like makes your brain like, I'm gonna do it.
And you do. In 1 week with this workout, you do see a difference. And you feel a difference. You wake up sore. You're feeling a difference. And honestly, and we've talked a lot about this, and mine's been a lot more slow and steady. But it's been consistent, and that's what it's about, is sticking with it. And there's hard days, and I know you had hard days. But the cool thing is we can all come together and talk about it and, you know, relate to each other and understand each other. So.
And I swear when we're working out, you know when I'm struggling, because you're like, come on, Marcy. I'm like, okay.
The energy is a real thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Even though it's through a camera and it's virtual and it feels weird, we all somehow feel connected. Yeah. Almost as if we were in the same room. It's not quite like that, but you can feel each other's energy. And then at the end during cool down something that I love, kumbaya. I mean, and that I get emotional a lot of the time because I feel the energy from these incredible women. So anyway, I can't thank you enough for your support and trusting this process and trusting me and taking it. I mean, you gave it 100%, and I hope you continue to give it 100%.
And I hope everyone else does too. I hope that it's one of the places that everyone can come and like feel comfortable and just get it done. Like,
and it's okay to have a hard day.
I hope everyone feels like that, because you really do feel so much better. And I think women need that.
And look at you, it's only been 3 months. 3 months later, and you're seeing these changes. And so I'm so happy for you. Give me a hug.
Thank you.
I love you, dear. Okay, now, if you have questions for Marcy and you want to reach out to her and learn more about, I hope I tackled all the questions that I thought you would have, but I'm sure I missed some. So you can contact her, Marcy Buck 89 Makeup. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. That's on Instagram. I'll say it again, Marcy Buck 89 Makeup. And then her YouTube channel, follow her. She does some amazing makeup, as you can see. It's just Marcy Buck on YouTube. So follow her. She's on Facebook as well. And if you need to reach her and you're having a hard time, hit me up and I'll hook you up with her for sure. But thanks so much for watching, you guys, and thank you for being here with me.
No problem.
I appreciate it. We'll see you later.